In October 2019, I uploaded 10 horror music videos in Rock, which was instantly demonetized by YouTube because of violent footage. Even after an appeal, YouTube said they would not monetize the video. In 2020, I re-edited the original video to make it YouTube safe and less bloody. If you haven't seen this video before, it's because YouTube wouldn't push it. If you have, thank you for watching again. Happy Halloween.
Am I really the type of man to do an entire corny Halloween video dressed as the Fiend? Yep.
Happy Halloween, everyone. Here's a look at 10 horror music videos in Rock. As it's the season, I figured this would be a good time to take a look at horror music videos. Whether that's something with spooky, scary imagery all Halloweeny, or something very violent and graphic, everything's fair game. So join me, your dollar store fiend, as your host. Seriously, look at me, I got this flappy chin meat. Man, I don't know if I'm supposed to cut that off or not. How does he breathe in this thing anyway? Jeez. To start off, we don't just have a music video, but a 14-minute short film adding to what is my favorite song from the horror tribute album The Silver Scream by Ice Nine Kills. While the song itself is inspired by the It franchise, the music video is one of several about a killer, and in this video, it's Spencer Charner's kidnapped along with a psychotherapist going on a thrill ride.
So I hope...
What was that?
I don't know!
Spencer?
There was a lot of dedication in these videos for The Silver Scream, and it really shows in the quality. And I love it when people put in that extra effort, even if it's towards horror icons like Pennywise, Jason, whoever it may be. I know it's probably a ridiculous comment, but the fact that they made that clown nose bike horn sound effect work in the song, and music snobs didn't complain, is a miracle. It gets frantic and has a full story arc with It Is the End wrapping everything up. It's a mini-movie series with a lot of great music in it, and it's fun to listen to. The lyrics in the song like this about devouring children on paper sound terrifying, but when you realize it's a tribute, it does work. At the very end, you find out it was that dastardly Spencer who was behind it all and gives his reasoning of revenge as to why he went on a killing spree.
It's just good old-fashioned revenge.
I never did anything to you.
Anyone with the name Spencer should not be trusted. Wait. These videos are worth checking out in full if you get the time. Lots of fun, great music, and a who's who of horror characters from past and present. And in this one, a happy clown!
Here I go again, check me out! Here I go again, check me out!
Many people don't know this, but Ice-T and everyone in Body Count are big-time horror fans. Some of the band members name themselves Vincent Price and Juan of the Dead. It's in the music video Here I Go Again where things get visually intense. This is one of the music videos on the list that is not for the squeamish, so if you don't like blood, don't watch. Also, why would you be watching a horror music video list if you don't like blood at least a little?
I wanna keep the heads. I love to peel off their faces and wear their dead skin to bed.
When you go through the lyrics of Here I Go Again, it's a killer on the streets with voices in his head. Standard trope of horror. It's after the halfway point that the killer turns on himself and tortures himself to death.
Next victim is in the mirror. I stabbed him in the eye with my knife made of surgical steel.
YouTube, please don't demonetize this video. Look at me. I'm a dollar store fiend. I need every penny I can get. Saying this music video gets graphic is underselling it because they went deep with special effects and really had Ice-T do a number on, well, himself. While the song Here I Go Again was an unreleased track from years ago by Ice-T, he brought it back and turned it into something heavy with Body Count in 2017. Then, when everyone realized they can make a music video to go along with the actual actions described in the song, they went overboard.
I'm looking at the ceiling.
Can you imagine if they tried to pull this in the TRL days? All those 13-year-old girls expecting an NSYNC music video and ended up traumatized from seeing this? Body Count song proved you can get as literal as you want with some of the lyrics if you have an asylum room to shoot in and gallons of fake blood, and a singer who isn't afraid to get his hands dirty.
I go again, check me out!
It's a match made in 80s nostalgia heaven. We have a song written for the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, the third film to be specific, and an entire music video featuring metal icon Dokken and Freddy Krueger. I feel like if we add some Ecto Cooler and a Batman movie poster, we'll have the perfect nostalgia recipe for the 80s. Lots of creepy imagery and setup here, which is great, but it's the presence of Dokken who make this video special, as they use the power of metal to banish Freddy Krueger. Oh, it's so great. I get that it sounds ridiculous, but so were the 80s, and they were still awesome. How can you not smile a little at this, though? Freddy Krueger covering his ears in terror as Dokken screeches and shreds him into oblivion. They put some work into this creepy house with the band members breaking through the walls and the drum kit appearing everywhere. I mean, this is as good of a tie into a movie as a music video could actually be. Will Smith really overdid it later in the 90s with Wild Wild West and Men in Black, but regardless, it's a mini horror movie here with Freddy Krueger versus metal. Is it cheesy? Undeniably. But so is Halloween. It's supposed to be fun. Just take horror for what it is. Also, the idea of metal killing off Freddy Krueger is still a better concept than a lot of horror movies I've seen over the years. 80s, metal, horror, all great things condensed in just a few minutes. More cheese than Wisconsin, but still a great few minutes. Totally worth pointing out horror punk icons in a video about horror music videos. Regardless of the specific lineup of the Misfits at the time frame, the music video for Scream is something special as it was the only music video ever directed by George A. Romero of Living Dead fame. George A. Romero, zombies, Misfits, it's like a Halloween checklist. As someone who worked at a hospital, I can confirm that this behavior of people running around all maniacally and out of control is completely accurate. You can tell that they had fun making this video, and it works with the song too, even if some of the acting isn't exactly, terrific. Some of the effects are great. The use of black and white for most of the video is a nice touch. I really wish George A. Romero would have done more music videos at his time, because there was so much he could have done with many different bands and songs. Seeing some of the Misfits with the gore and biting people makes it feel like it was a big deal, so I'm sure Romero could have done tons with other bands as well. More movie directors in general should try their hands with music videos, because there are a lot of bands that can really do something special with the music that's already made. When MTV stopped playing music, the music video game really kind of died out. Sucks. Thanks, MTV. Keep playing those Jersey Shore reruns, though. Scream is a fun little video with blood and zombies, and it all ends with a twist. Was it all a dream? Are the Misfits actually undead? Who knows? It's unclear.
Welcome to the party, honey.
Logically, there's no way I couldn't include this one for a Halloween video. It might be a touch dated and not the least bit scary, but back in 1987, this was everything that metal fans could have wanted from Helloween. As legendary and iconic as this music video was supposed to be, some of it's just adorable. You would think that this would be the band's banner anthem and song, but what do they have for the music video? Pumpkin spoopies! Oh man, I know saying this is horror-based is stretched, but come on, I had to include it just on principle. Apparently the woods in Germany are filled with attractive women and bad dancers. Sounds like a party, I guess. I mean, come on, we've all been to worse costume parties. Helloween really are the grandfathers of power metal in many ways. With all the wacky shenanigans, I do kind of wish that the video was made for the entire 13-minute song, not just 5 minutes. Because I want more of Mr. Pumpkinhead here. He is great. I feel a little self-conscious about my costume now because I'm clearly not as well dressed as Mr. Spoopy Pumpkin. This was a bit of a goof-off entry, but it's Halloween, and I'm sure being chased in the woods or confronting weird men in the woods while guitar shredding is going on has to count as horror to someone. You can die from fright, and you can die from laughing. Either way, death can be scary, so it counts. While The Cure aren't necessarily a horrifying presence, the music video for Lullaby is something special thanks to Robert Smith, and there is plenty of interpretation to it. It's not so much the imagery of what you see in the video, but rather putting yourself in the shoes, or rather the bed, of Robert Smith as he is almost paralyzed, not being able to move as so much happens around him. There are many interpretations of the Spider-Man and everything in the video that has to deal with being a nightmare, but my favorite interpretation is that of the Spider-Man being a cannibal devouring Smith alive, while the Spider-Man is a representation of things like addiction and depression. So visually, it's a bit unnerving, but when you break it down psychologically and metaphorically, it's truly terrifying. Also, the rest of the band looks adorable as tin soldiers. It's not horror in the typical sense of a psychotic killer or a creature chasing after teenagers, but in the context of what's being shown, you can tell it's a nightmare, all while Robert Smith simply lies in bed. Interpret the Spider-Man however you want, especially when you go through the lyrics in some of this, which makes it more intense, but being devoured alive while hearing "Don't Struggle" as it goes on, and then this all being an analogy for terrible problems, definitely speaks volumes. Don't struggle like that, I'll love you. Sometimes the art of subliminal and flashing images is what can truly make you feel unnerved, and Chelsea Wolfe achieved implanting those feelings with Feral Love. What starts off as seeing random shots of Chelsea walking around with quick visuals of seemingly random objects, the video starts easing you into darker content sparking fear, using blood, spiders, fire, fleeing children, and much more. Flashing quick images that are terrifying has much more of a psychological and long-lasting effect than you may realize. A music video like this can take several watches to catch everything, but Chelsea Wolfe and the crew making this video put in some serious effort, including so much while showing seemingly so little in retrospect. The hazy tone of the music adds to the unnerving stylized sequence of showing Chelsea Wolfe, flashing something dark, a gorgeous beach, something random, back to Chelsea, something dark again. All those clips in various orders repeated for the entire runtime is how you become brainwashed and accustomed to the horrific and confusing items being shown. When you're fixated on one visual entity and you're not prepared for something truly scary to come at you, even for an instant, it can stay with you forever. And that can come back in very negative ways when you're not expecting it later in life. Good luck getting that out of your head. Horror comes in different ways, and it's when you don't realize you were being conditioned to trauma until after it's too late, that's when the real fear can sink in. Switching gears back to the traditional horror trope, Health delivered on the exact cliché scene in their video for We Are Water. A terrified woman fleeing for her life in the woods at night, being chased by a psychopath in his underwear wielding a machete. It's as simple as it gets, but it's the way it's presented with the music and how it's shot that makes it so mesmerizing. The slow motion chase shot in clips to the rhythm of the song while the two run in the rain adds to the setting, sure, but it's the close-up of the blood, the panic, the fear, all leading up to the true confrontation. Fight or flight, kill or be killed, and one party has already chosen to kill. After the trip and fall in what appears to be the end becomes a true moment of comeuppance as the attacker is served his justice brutally. What I love more though is the reaction of the woman realizing and screaming about what's in front of her. The fear and panic of it all still racing through her as their assaulter now lies defeated and mutilated in a pool of his own blood. If it's not clear from what I've shown, if you are the least bit afraid of blood, you will be traumatized by this video. Yikes. Health creating something special here, and the music is not so much noise rock as it's the perfect build-up and impactful soundtrack to a truly horrifying scene. It would be pretty dumb to not include something from Rammstein on the list. This is actually the first part of a two-part video for this song, the second part being the piano cover, but I'm focusing on the first because, wow, this could be a horror film all on its own. The two.
Mine
Now that I think about it, I want to see the Fiend show up in a Rammstein video. Or the band show up in a Firefly Funhouse episode. Oh my gosh, who do I sell this idea to? Before we get to our final video, if you haven't done so already, please hit the like video below if you've been enjoying this so far. That helps a ton to get this video noticed in the search algorithms and push it to viewers who may also enjoy it. On top of that, if you want to watch any of the music videos I've talked about so far, the pinned comment below has a link to all of them. That being said, are you truly ready to see something absolutely horrifying? No! That's right, Creed made a horror-based music video, all off the Scream franchise. That's not a joke. It even features David Arquette from the movie here in the music video. Talk about star power! Back in the year 2000, Creed actually curated the soundtrack for Scream 3 and included 2 of their own songs, including blending What If from Human Clay. No joke, the soundtrack was decent overall, but the music video, well, just like Creed as the years go on, it becomes a big joke. You have the horror tropes, pretty ladies hooking up with band members at inappropriate places, a killer coming after them all, up-close face mugging. Sounds like horror to me. I mean, say what you want about the Scream movies, but you had Scott Stapp mugging up close to the camera, and I'm terrified. It's all a big setup for the band members to be hunted down by the masked killer while the lovely ladies scream in fear. I would also like to point out that Mark Tremonti, instead of going off to canoodle with an attractive woman, just starts playing basketball by himself. That's it. Poor guy, he deserves better than this in so many ways. I mean, geez, he was just shooting around, he didn't deserve to die. And it's at the end when all the ladies find each other in terror, not knowing what to do, when those wacky Creed boys pop out in the mask and prove it was all a big goof. Oh, those rascals. Jeez, ladies, you can hit them harder than that, it's Creed. And they pulled a prank on you. Or did they? It ends on a cliffhanger. I don't want to sound mean, but I don't know if many viewers care enough to know what happens to David Arquette at the end. Well, we might as well end it here because, as many people have said in the music industry, we just can't do better than Creed. Now, if you'll excuse me while I'm dressed like this with my floppy chin meat, I'm gonna go scare elderly people at the park. And that was a look at 10 horror music videos in rock. Know of another horror music video? Leave a comment and let everyone know. Big thanks to my patrons and a special thanks to Brandon Barenfeld, Chris Doman, McKenna White, and Dom Smith. You can have a say in upcoming videos and see videos early by supporting Rocked on Patreon. Please click the link in the video description for more info. Please subscribe and ring the bell to get notified on upcoming videos. You can check out my concert photography on Instagram, and you can keep up to date with Rocked on Facebook and Twitter.